Ohio State is somehow the most deserving college football champion of all time and the least deserving. They have it both ways because as we have now deprioritized the regular season, Ohio State was the direct beneficiary of that. Ohio State and the other team we saw last night, Notre Dame, direct beneficiary of us saying the regular season no longer matters. And if you're a Buckeyes fan today, you can celebrate and rejoice in your national championship. You're going to be a little miserable because Michigan fans are going to hang over your head that loss you had against a bad Wolverine team. But outside of that, too, you proved it in the playoffs. Congratulations. You did not prove it during the regular season. Any other year, you would have never had a shot at this thing. It's why I'm so conflicted right now. Ryan Day gets to keep his job not because he made this run happen this year, but because it happened in 2024 and not 2022. This same season happens for the Buckeyes in 2022. They don't make the playoff. They play in a random, meaningless Fiesta Bowl game, and Ryan Day is likely trying to find an offensive coordinator job in the NFL. Like, oh, what a difference a year makes. Oh, what a difference a rule change makes. That's what gave Ohio State a national championship. So do with that what you want. Does that give you any resolve, CK?
No, it doesn't. I think that there are a lot of things at play here, and I think that Ohio State's shortcomings in the regular season put them in a position that allowed them to be the, quote, most deserving, allowed them to beat all of these top 10 teams by a certain amount of points. If they take care of business when they should have in the regular season, they've got the easy Penn State path. And when I say all these teams, if they beat Michigan, they have the easy Penn State path where they're not really looped into that. You don't really respect Ohio State's run as much as you do now if they beat the Boise and they beat SMU.
Yeah.
They beat Notre Dame in the semifinal. You don't really respect that Buckeyes run to a title as much as you do since they were put behind the 8 ball in the 8-9 game and then against Texas, and then we know all the history there.
Yeah. So you're saying that them losing to Michigan almost heightened the value of their national championship because they did it in a tougher path.
And I also think that there is something to having a tougher path makes you better equipped to win the national championship game. If you are practicing for 2 weeks to hit a baseball, and what you have to practice with is a wiffle ball bat, you take all those practice swings every single day. You're taking 25 swings with a wiffle ball bat, and you're really getting your form down. And then when the game that matters most, the national championship game comes, you're given a normal 32-ounce wooden baseball bat. That swing's going to feel different. When you are playing Boise State, when you're playing SMU, when you're playing lesser teams, higher number of seeds in that bracket, it's going to feel a whole lot different than when all of a sudden you have a real big dog contender in a national championship game who can match you blow for blow in those critical moments in the game. So by swinging with a regular weight bat, by having to beat Tennessee, who has a good offense, by having to beat Oregon, who was number 1, by having to beat Texas, who had an argument to be a top 3 team in the country, it best suit them to play Notre Dame because they were battle-tested this whole past month, priming them for them spot. Yes, it also put them at risk to not be in the spot for a national championship game, but they were definitely well-suited to win it because of the trial by fire.
So you're right, and that's why I do say they're the most deserving team to ever win a national championship in college football. They went through maybe the toughest road to get there, and they won those games when they actually mattered most. But that's why I also say by the same token, you flip the coin, they're the least deserving team in the history of college football to win a national championship, outside of course, the ridiculous shared titles of the 1930s and 40s and whatnot. Outside of that, like in modern history, they are the least deserving because their path to even be considered a team to be in the 12-team playoff came with the blemishes that would have made them not qualified to be in the national championship game in the first place. In no other season in the history of college football does that team get a chance to play for it. This year they did, and that's why you can't have it both ways. So either you agree with me on one of these 2 points. They're the least deserving team to ever win a national champion, or college football has effectively deprioritized the regular season. One of the two have to be true.
I don't think so.
You can't refute both claims.
I don't live in the absolutism.
Those are both absolutes, and you have to pick one, CCAT.
No.
Which one is right?
You're not going to make me.
Is the regular season deprioritized, or is Ohio State, the least deserving champion of all time, because they got there only based off the fact that the regular season now doesn't matter as much.
I'll compromise with you here because Ohio State did not have the best season of any national champion of all time. Because if it was the best season, it'd be unblemished, and they would have rolled and had an easier path in the playoff and play one or two tough games. So I would not say most deserving. Absolutely not, because they didn't deserve it because of the display they put on against Oregon. Tough game, but they lost. And then the display, obviously, against Michigan.
That was a disqualifying loss. That's a disqualifying loss to lose to an unranked team. An unranked team that late in the season, that's not like it happened week 1, week 0. That was the last mark we had from them.
So,
and it bounced. Come on. It bounced them out of the conference championship.
Let's tackle your devaluing the regular season.
Yeah.
I will say it does lessen the value of the regular season if you're among the elite. That's where it is. Where one lesser team, one middle-of-the-road team, one team who is a 10-point, 17-point, whatever it is, underdog going against one of those elite teams, just sneaks him, haymaker, catches them on a week where they're looking ahead. Yes, that loss does not mean as much as it did in 2013.
Yeah, that's true.
But to say it deprioritizes the entire regular season in college football is a fallacy, because we're seeing these regular season games matter so much for seeds 5 through 12. There's a reason why Kansas beating Colorado was a big deal towards the end of the season, because that was a playoff disqualifying loss for Colorado.
I think you just proved my point, because the elites are all that actually matter in the grand scheme of things in college football. That's not me telling you that. That is the broadcast partners telling you that. That is the 12-team playoff selection committee telling us that year after year after year. That is also literally the players telling us that, because that's where they all want to transfer to or go to be able to contend. Like, what matters and what moves the needles are what happens to the elites of the elites. And if the elites of the elites do not need a pristine regular season to get into the 12-team playoff, then the regular season is deprioritized. That Colorado-Kansas game, like, where does that rank amongst games that actually mattered this season?
Well, who knows? If Colorado won the game, maybe it would matter, because maybe Colorado would sneak up and beat somebody they shouldn't have in the early rounds, and maybe we see Colorado for some reason in the Final Four.
Whole lot of maybes there. But we know the games that actually matter involve the elite teams in college football.
It's one season. It is one season, one set of data.
The regular season.
Maybe next year it won't. We only have one data point.
Yeah.
We only have one set of statistics where clearly the teams that did not have the bye to the top 4 seeds were in a better advantage because they won all those games.
Yeah. But again, that's why I say I'm not saying it as a good or a bad thing. I'm just saying it as a matter of fact. The regular season does not matter as much anymore, because the wins and losses on a week-to-week basis for the pristine, for the big powerhouse programs like your Ohio States, it will not disqualify you. Ohio State can lose the biggest game on their calendar at Michigan, against Michigan, at home, unranked Michigan, and still qualify for the 12-team playoff and make a run to win the thing. That means the regular season doesn't matter as much, because in the past that would have got them bounced. Look at even the past 3 or 4 years. We've seen that happen at the end of the year for other teams.
Now, I